What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back to the Tuffy Talk live show, y'all. It has been a couple weeks, but I am back once again. I'm looking forward to this one as we have a crap ton to talk about. Some good, some bad, but we got to talk about it all. So with that being said, you got myself, Layden Smith, and Greg. Greg, you don't have your little clever hashtag here, man. Did you have enough time to do some research, bud? Do some thinking?
It wouldn't let me do it. I'm on the mobile site, so I guess it doesn't like that. So we'll get back at it next week.
I gotcha. Yeah, I guess it's just making sure that it's clear that you just better be glad that you're here, right? So
That's
I guess that's it. So anyway, man. So for all those tuning in through YouTube, obviously our man Greg Glick, he doesn't have his pretty NC State background, and and Greg, not even a NC State flag could fit in that suitcase, man, to tape up behind you.
I was so lazy. You're lucky you got this much.
That's true. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. But with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, again, make sure, again, any thoughts, comments, concerns, make sure to put them in the chat, and we will get to them here today. But definitely got to talk about huge win for sure, which, as I just tweeted out, actually, in my opinion, was a super underrated win, actually, for NC State men's basketball. And you may say, underrated? You just beat Colgate, who was 1-2. Like,
the toothpaste school.
About? The toothpaste school, exactly. The Colgate toothpaste. The toothpaste is their mascot. No, it's the Raiders, but no, it should be the Colgate. Which, I mean, by the way, too, though, I do feel for them because I'm sure they get jokes like that all the time. I'm sure it is like just shoot me every single time, like that they get that joke. Like, oh my gosh, thank you, you're so clever. But 72-49 win for NC State. And the first thing I want to say about this, and I always say Vegas knows everything, but I also say that Vegas is a great way to kind of set expectations. And being that we were only 12.5-point favorites for this game, I think says a lot. And also to that point about what Vegas puts us as will also be a part of our conversation here in a little bit when we talk about women's basketball. But again, men's basketball tonight, we were 12.5-point favorites, beat them by 23 points. But also too, on top of that, one of my tweets of the week, which of course my my MacBook, I'm sure maybe some other people might understand what I'm dealing with, but I guess Mac or Apple just came out with a new upgrade for the MacBook, and so the Mac whatever that just got upgraded to is absolutely throwing all of my applications off, so I cannot create my daggum tweets of the week. So we're just gonna have to talk about it as we go here a little bit, but one here specifically, if I can pull it up, if I can find it. Hopefully this is the right one. Yep, here it is from John Rothstein. who's a big men's college basketball media analyst, says NC State currently has 8 different players averaging between 6.3 and 16.3 points per game entering tonight's game against Colgate and Raleigh. Final real test of the season for the Wolfpack, who are currently 3-0. And I think you saw a little bit outside of that. I mean, Ben Middlebrook, I mean, I'm telling you this right now, Greg, and I think my man Wolfpack Stats said it best. I mean, you already felt pretty confident going into the season with Ben Middlebrooks, knowing you're going to have one of the, you're going to have a better than average center against pretty much every single ACC opponent across the board. But then you go the extra mile and you go get Brandon Huntley Hatfield from Louisville, who is already a very established big. And now you have another 1-2 punch with Brandon Huntley Hatfield and Ben Middlebrooks. And also, too, you also have another one in Ishmael Youth, who also, too, we haven't even seen come onto the court yet as well. So you kind of look a little bit like last year where you had Diarra, Middlebrooks, DJ Burns. And this year you'll have Brandon Huntley Hatfield, Ben Middlebrooks, and Doof. I mean, do you think that Keats maybe learned his lesson and looking at last year's roster, being like, hey, I mean, it's good to have options down low.
Yeah, it's you haven't seen the full complement of the team yet, right? With James out, and then Doof kind of just got in a little bit last game, and then was out tonight. And then you have Parker, and then you haven't really even seen McNeil that much. So there's still a lot of pieces, and you've gotten a nice nice bump from Marcus Hill so far. And if he continues the play that he's at, you're going to see a team that's probably going to get a lot more free throws. This is a team that we haven't, shot a lot of free throws the last couple of years. We've settled a lot on jump shots, but you're seeing a lot more aggressiveness towards the basket. And I'm kind of excited about that. So you may not have as many bigs as you did previously, but I think you're definitely more athletic.
Oh, for sure.
From a whole.
Yeah. No, I mean, even just rebounding wise here as well, if I could bring up the team stats here as well. So, we were really hot shooting the 3 ball. We actually shooting 50% from 3 in the first half. But then I think Jay and Taylor trying to do a few heat checks kind of pushed us out of that hot start. Ended up shooting 1 for 6, Jay and Taylor from 3. But I mean, rebounds wise, again, 41 rebounds for us, 37 for Colgate. So again, for me, it's for me, it's going to be another, I think, huge opportunity for Kevin Keats to really prove why he should be considered one of the better coaches in the ACC, especially now with Tony Bennett no longer being in the ACC as well, where, I mean, he has a lot of options of guys that, I mean, could play significant minutes every single night. I mean tonight alone, outside of garbage time, you really had 10 players really play during significant play time. But by the way, too, got to give a shout out to Ben Middlebrooks, who went 9 for 9 from free throws. Man, that is insane for a big.
Which I was going to make the comment. That's an area where we've struggled the last couple of games, and we were up near 80% tonight.
81%, 80.8%. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's so awesome. a much better number. I think we were hovering around like 63, 65% coming into the game. I think it just felt like, I don't know if that's the exact number it was, but it kind of, I know the last couple of games we've been around that number, so I'm just taking a guess that that's where we might be as a whole, but much better. Yeah.
Now, I mean, one guy that I'm telling you, Greg, has absolutely shocked me this year, not necessarily because he's just skyrocketed, but he's definitely played a lot more significant minutes than
I
expected. And also, too, he's done pretty decent as well. Who am I thinking of, Greg?
I think you're going to go Breon Pass.
Yes, for sure. Has played 17.7 minutes per game so far this season, averaged 7.7 points, 2.3 rebounds, 1.3 assists, and only 0.7 turnovers. So, I mean, he's playing solid, shooting 53.3% from the field, 60% from 3, 60% from 3 so far. I mean, he's been solid, I mean, this is a guy that I honestly was fully expecting that he was going to be playing for another school this year, and was going to give him a big fat salute and thank you for all you did. But
Yep.
I mean, hey, he's been a solid, throw in, whenever Keats has wanted to give Jay and Taylor or Michael O'Connell some rest.
Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't have been mad had he left after last year, but
No.
what he means to this program, like you can say that Michael O'Connell is the glue or the oil that makes the machine go, but Breon Pass is just that guy that um, in the age of transfer portal, he's the kind of guy that you love to see, and then love to see him succeed because he has stuck it out for so long, and
Yep.
he's just always been kind of a classy. I'm gonna say kid. I mean, he's an adult, but a classy guy.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, I mean, especially, and again, and we'll talk about it here a little bit too, like you were saying, Greg, about the transfer portal. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's just good for him for what I mean, and I think a lot more players need to understand this. Listen, sometimes it's just it's better to accept the true reality of where you really are and make the best of it. I mean, Breon Pass is going to leave NC State with, I mean, he's been here for what, 4 full years, I think four,
I
four or
think this
five
is
years.
year
He,
5.
he
I feel
came
like
here
this
with
is
the
year 5.
yeah, because he came here with Turquavion. So yeah, I think this is year 5. So I mean, and with how many classes that athletes take, I mean, I'm assuming he's probably up for his master's degree right now. So leading with a master's degree, plus, I mean, being a part of a team that at the very least last year won an AC championship, went to a Final Four,
Mhm.
still, to be continued on what's going to come from this year, and also to playing significant minutes here as a part of it as well. That honestly should be more of a dream for a lot more players, especially in today's world of NIL and transfer portal.
Yeah, he's a natural senior. Actually, I just looked it up.
Natural senior. Okay, so 4 years still. Okay, so I mean, either way, he's still gonna get his bachelor's and then get probably a lot of credit towards a master's, which he can probably choose to finish if he would like to. But either way, just so thrilled to see that for sure. But again, I think this is going to be kind of the point where you kind of start to figure out, all right, what is Kevin Keats truly going to do? Again, you can't play 10 guys rolling through, against Purdue, against Kansas. You can't play all those guys. You got to find guys that you want to roll with, and you got to leave them in to try and let them get not only just experience, but also to get into a flow, get into a rhythm, get them
Mhm.
playing more minutes with one another. And so, looking at what's next here in terms of schedule, they
It's
play.
going to get real tough.
It's going to get tough real quick. Yeah, the
Mhm.
rubber's going to meet the road here real quick.
Okay.
As You got William and Mary coming up here on Friday night, November 22nd, 7 p.m. in the Lenny Center, as some people calling it.
Colony Center.
And but then you got Purdue playing on November 28th, number 6 Purdue, and then you play Texas, Florida State, Copper State, but then you go to Kansas on December 14th. So yeah, it's going to get real tough here over these
Mhm.
next 3 weeks. So honestly, if I'm Keats, I'm dialing back, starting with William and Mary to 8, 9 guys at the very most. AK, I'm going ahead and treading some of the fat in terms of who am I going to redshirt, uh, who are going to be my guys that I'm going to roll with until something changes. So I mean, in your opinion, Greg, who would you have as your besides the obvious stars with the Marcus Hills, the Ben Middlebrooks, things like that? Who is some of the guy that you're saying, maybe this is a guy that I redshirt, or this is a guy that maybe I let him kind of force me to kind of give him minutes in a significant game.
Well, the crazy thing, the way the basketball works is if you play any bit, you don't get a red shirt.
Right.
So anyone that's already played um, can't be redshirted. And I think
That's
pretty much
right. I forgot
everyone's
about
played at
that.
this point. Yeah. So
That's
basketball's a little
crazy.
bit different. It's not like football.
That's
Um,
crazy.
but with that being said, I know. Um, and the only reason I learned that was the other day was that 7'9" freshman from Florida, and they were talking about that he was going to red shirt, and they were going to put him in the
Mm,
game. But the coach was like, "Yeah, if I play you for just 30 seconds, that burns your red shirt." So that's the only
mm,
reason I knew that. But getting back to your initial question, I think your rotation. I think Keats wants to go 9, 10, 11 deep on the team if all possible. But um, I think your freshmen are probably going to be the ones that are going to end up being at the end of the bench, just
Yep.
because at this point they just haven't flashed to where you're going to feel comfortable putting them in pressure situations, at least for right now.
Yep.
Um, so that just leaves pretty much all your sophomores and even Dennis Parker Jr. is a guy that's not really getting a whole lot of playing time right now. So I figure like he's going to be the beginning of that rotate, or beginning of the end of that rotation, if that makes sense.
I agree.
But yeah, I think you're gonna, and it's gonna get even smaller once you get James back. I figure like Doof is someone that you're probably not going to see a lot of, at least not right now.
Yeah.
Um, so I think you're going to probably roll a solid 9-10.
Yep. Well, that's what I'm saying is that like, you're playing 9 guys right now and you still got 2 guys that are still going to come back, at some point here in the next week or two, few weeks. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like, somebody like Paul McNeil, who, a lot of state fans are very excited about, including myself. He's only played 4.3 minutes a game so far. Hasn't even really seen the floor really. So, um, you know, is it even in Keith's interest to really see what you got in him? Maybe not, but I understand as well with the fact that again, you have so many guys that are playing really, really well right now. Marcus Hill, and you're going to rely, even no matter what Michael O'Connell and Jane Taylor do, you're going to rely on them. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
so
And
yeah,
I
we'll
think in
see.
And I think in Keats's system, he's more like he wants you playing stronger on the defensive side than the offensive side, just because of the way he likes to pressure. And I think that's the one thing that and if I had to guess, I don't obviously have any inside information, but if I had to take a guess, I think that's what's holding some of these freshmen back a little bit is they're on the defensive end. There's no doubt that they can score. I think Keats probably just wants to see a little bit more on the defense. And look, you're a true freshman. Um, the game is a lot faster. Everyone is the big fish in Division One basketball. It's not like all that competition steps up a level. So as good as those freshmen are, being 4 and 5 star kids, there's still a learning curve.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, definitely we'll be interested to see, if Keats does change anything up in terms of his rotation for William and Mary in preparation for that huge game against Purdue. But again, just take it one game at a time. And hey, we're sitting here 4-0, feeling pretty good about every game so far that we've played. Have we dominated anybody? No, but I mean, especially that exhibition game was obviously a little bit nerve wracking, no doubt about it. But hey, I mean, sitting here 4-0 and feeling pretty decent. And I think right now that a goal of competing in the top half easily in the ACC is well within reach right now for us. So just keep it
Yep.
going and let's see if we can make some noise here in the next couple of weeks. That's all you can do. So
Yeah, I mean, just for real quick to close the loop and put the bow on it, that Purdue matchup is just huge. It's a neutral site game, quad one. You're going to learn a lot about your team. And so it's going to be like, okay, who are we really? And we're going to learn a lot real fast.
yeah, absolutely. Carson, what's going on, bud?
Yeah, going good. I just got home from basketball game.
Yep.
How'd we
So
do?
yeah, yeah,
We won by like 25. We were up by 30 at one point.
yeah.
Definitely the
Yeah.
best performance I've seen from us so far this season.
Yep, we were
So-
just saying that.
So real quick, Carson, then I'll let you do your final point. Can you check your microphone and make sure that's on the main microphone here? Sounds kind of from the background, but last point point I want to make too as well, Greg, and then I'll let Carson kind of add one point before we jump on to some of the other things that we need to do here as well. Is do you feel like that like between Jay and Taylor and Michael O'Connell, do you see them really taking a huge step forward this season, or do you? Because right now I'm seeing a little bit of kind of just the same, performance role that they were in last year. Okay, I don't know if neither of them going to really be guys that are going to take over. I think they're going to be guys that are going to be great pieces for a team collective, if that makes sense. Which I mean, it worked last year, but that just means you're going to have to find that somewhere else in a Marcus Hill and a Mike James, somebody like that.
Yeah, I thought this team got really good at the end of the year when O'Connell was inserted as the point guard, and that when he got a little bit selfish at times and took and found his shot or looked for his shot, he
Yep.
just hasn't taken a lot of shots. And what he's taken, he's been making really well. So I think maybe, it kind of reminds me of Markel Johnson, where that was Keats' biggest complaint was he didn't take enough shots because he could shoot. And I
Right.
think you see a little bit like that with O'Connell. Like, I think at some point, Keats is going to want O'Connell to call his own number.
Right. Agreed. So Carson, hopefully we got you now better, brother. But we need to move on to some other topics here, man. But I wanted to give you a floor here real quick to see what your one thought, big thought is from this game tonight and in-state basketball.
Yeah, I think a big contributor is Marcus Hill with the driving. I think he's going to be a really good driver going towards the basket. And also Middlebrooks. I think Middlebrooks played really good tonight as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've already talked about it, but 9 for 9 free throws is incredibly impressive for a guy like him, for sure. So excited what we have, and and just thrilled that Keats decided to not settle and go after and get another great piece as well, another great couple pieces actually. So, but want to move on here actually to since MV Barber wants to kind of help us move it along. What are y'all's thoughts about Concepcion's brother decommitting from state? And do you think Casey might leave as well? So Greg, and Michelle saying there's $1 million question. I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, and this isn't even sharing any kind of insider information whatsoever. This is just adding 1 + 1 = 2, which is Casey last year had a historic season, no doubt about it. This year he has been, first game he had three touchdowns first game, and then ever since then it's been involved, but even in the parts where he has been involved, he hasn't been effective. Arguably he's been one of the most inefficient football players, not only just at NC State, but arguably in the ACC, just in terms of how many opportunities he's had and just hasn't been able to do much with it. Now, is that on the coaching staff? Some absolutely. It's 100% on the coaching staff. Some with the bubble screens out that just have not worked whatsoever that we tried to give him. But as well, he had 5 targets last week versus Duke and didn't catch a single one of them. I made the joke offline, but hey, Greg, I just want you to know, man, you were as effective as Kevin Concepcion last week against Duke, man. Congratulations to you, Greg. But so that plus now his brother decommitting from NC State, to me, that's 1 + 1 = 2, in my opinion. There. So, but Carson, do you still think that that's not necessarily 1 + 1 = 2? That's 1 + 1 = 1.75. Like, it's not fully a guarantee, but I don't know. To me, I'm sitting there like, I don't know. It just seems so obvious at this point, really. And with the fact that he wants to be the focal point, and when we have guys like Noah Rogers, like Hollywood Smothers, that are really standing out, I don't know. To me, it's kind of a little bit of, you can't have it all. Like you got to pick and choose it, because of the fact that, we're not Texas. We can't afford to pay everybody. We got to choose who we pay. So in my opinion, I think that guys like Noah Rogers, where you've seen the spark with Hollywood Smothers, who you've seen, he's taken over games. So, they're going to be looking for, what's out there. So I don't know. What do you think, Carson? Give me your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think recently it's really turned into the Justin Joly and Noah Rogers game at the receiving. And we saw Casey had his really good season last year when he was a freshman. And now in his sophomore year, we're seeing other guys start to take the spotlight when Casey should really be that leadership point. And so I think all the dots are pointing that Casey might be looking for a new path. I hope that's not the case. I hope he stays with the program and improves and gets better. But we can't pay everyone.
Yeah. Well, and Greg, I'll kind of phrase the question a little differently to you, but MV Barber also saying also we got a good wide receiver class, so we might have not need his brother anyways. Well, the one thing which I'll say is, again, you have this year Terrell Anderson, Keenan Jackson, who both really stood out this season. So maybe am I overreacting a little bit? Maybe just Arian Concepcion's looking at the NC State wide receiver and being like, man, like, I'm right now the number 196 wide receiver in the class of 2026. Like, what are really the odds of me getting significant playing time in NC State? Maybe it's better that I go elsewhere. Do you think that's maybe, could be more the case than the opposite side, which is that him and KC are going to, walk in arms to some other school?
Yeah, it's quite possible. We also don't know, if you saw what Corey Smith posted, I think it was last night. It's not that impressive, his overall numbers, and you kind of just alluded to it.
Yeah.
Who's to say that State didn't pull the offer? We don't know.
Yep.
You know, so
Which that'd be
so
quite
I,
gutsy with him being with KC being on roster right now. But
well,
yeah,
and look, I'm not trying to go 10 hat, 10 foil hat, but
yeah,
maybe that's the way that you force Casey out if that's what they're looking for. Again, just having conversation. Don't know any of that to be true, but it's there. There's no doubt that we don't have the same KC that we did last year. I'm with Carson. Like, I would love for him to stay and get better and continue to play at State. I just don't know if that's in the cards. I would be happy either way, whether he stayed or left. And the only reason I say I would be happy is because you want to see these kids do well for themselves. I don't wish any ill will if someone leaves the program. I'm not one of those people that are going to DM a player and go, you suck, you should stay, you're a traitor. Not my style.
Nope.
So look, if you want to be here, great. If not, good luck to you.
Yeah. No. Well, and I mean, Preacher Man even saying as well, redshirted Jonathan Paylor as well. I mean, yeah, he's a guy that, I mean, listen, like he was a top 100 recruit in last year's recruiting class, and I mean, scored an average of 5 touchdowns a game, whether that was rushing or receiving last year per game. 5 touchdowns per game, and so yeah, I mean, like he's a guy that they're going to get involved. Like, and you have.
Well,
to,
he's
you
a
have
prime KC replacement if KC were to leave. I mean, that's their
1,000%.
Their body aligns with one another. The speed,
Yes.
like it's almost a carbon copy. Not to say that he'd have the same production, but they're pretty close in stature and what they can do on the field.
I 100% agree. Actually, couldn't agree more. Actually, with that thought, it's a great point. So, but yeah. So again, it's just going to be a little bit of, hey, this year we had all the options in the world in terms of weapons, and so maybe next year you say, and obviously so far it hasn't worked, but next year, you try something a little bit different, and especially since we're going to have to go after a few offensive linemen, we're going to have to go after some help at defensive line as well. Maybe some help even a linebacker potentially, but again, we'll see. So again, I mean, you're going to have to get all these weapons, so you got to clear up, and also too, expecting that we're not going to have a growth in NIL, bag next year. It's going to be probably, hopefully, the same, maybe potentially a little bit less. I don't know, but just
well,
see
I
what
think the
happens.
one thing that you want to talk about might change the way people look, and it's something you and I texted about. So this might be the time to talk about that, because this could be the motivating factor where people may now start to donate. And so go ahead and drop that news.
Well, yeah, I mean, and anybody who's a member of the Wolfpack Club should have received this email last week. But huge news finally. And honestly, in my opinion, I don't know why it's honestly taken this long. Being that the Wolfpack Club and our NIL collectives have always seemed very, hand in hand in terms of working with one another. But finally, Ben Broussard has officially announced that donations to One Pack NIL will officially go towards your Wolfpack Club status, which is huge. I mean that is ginormous. And I mean, one specific example I can mention is that for we have a family friend of ours who's a pretty big donor for NC State, but he's obviously gotten pulled for One Pack, but he's also gotten pulled for Wolfpack Club as well. And he said, I'm either going to donate to one, not the other. I'm not going to put my hands in both. Like, I'm just going to go one or the other. So last year he donated towards NIL. 2 years before that, he was a Wolfpack Club. And so now he can do both, and just because, again, it's just like, it doesn't do anything, for, it doesn't do as much for me when I could just, put all my eggs in just one. And, he's also older as well. So he just doesn't care to get into all the, back and forth, getting pulled on both sides. Just like, I'm just going to have this much money. I'm going to pour it towards one thing, just to keep it simple. And so now he can put it towards both. a great opportunity. So, Greg, I mean, obviously being a member, a pretty big time member as well with the One Pack side, Wolfpack Club side.
Slow down, not big time member.
Hey,
like,
big time member in terms of, a big time member in terms of, you run the daggum tailgate, Greg. All right. I mean, that's all I'm saying, come on. But I mean, so you've had your hands, pretty involved. Let's put it that way in both sides.
Sure.
I can say that. So what was your initial response when you saw that email come in?
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that they did that, especially the whole retroactive thing, where they could have just said, okay, we're starting 1 November, and if you donate, you get your points. For anyone, we didn't mention it, but for every $1,000 you donate to One Pack NIL, you get 8 priority points in the Wolfpack Club. So just kind of break that number down. But
pretty good.
I think it's great. I'm still donating the same amount of money, and now I can split it up, and now they both get a little bit of love, and I'm still getting my points. Which is huge. And then also, just as a real quick plug for the Wolfpack Club, they're doing the Light It Red campaign, and so 3 times the points until now to the end of the year. So if you want to go that route, you can go that route as well.
Yeah.
And I will let Carson talk a little bit about the Wolfpack Clubs. I think he knows a little thing about the Wolfpack Club.
Yeah, I think this is a generally good thing. Doing what some other schools are doing as well. Because if you look at schools like Carolina, the Rams Club, that's for scholarships and NIL. So they have one big collective for NIL and scholarships. So making it more of a one collective thing, I think will help donors get on board with a lot of stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and especially too, for those people like myself that honestly like the separation between NIL and Wolfpack and, and scholarships, things like that as well, just because it's obviously a big difference in terms of what you're investing in. If you're going more towards the school, facilities, coaches' salaries. On the other side, you're actually donating directly towards players, and so it's a big difference there. So kind of like that point, regarding the Rams Club side as well.
Yeah, but in the next 3 years, it's all going to probably be together anyway, because now it's closer. These players have become employees, and that that the university can start paying them directly. It just all makes sense to have one umbrella and then let them move it around as necessary, because then there's no confusion for the average fan, because it becomes a lot to figure out for the average fan of how it all works out.
Well, and I mean, and obviously, once the schools actually get involved and invested in the payment towards the players, that's a completely game changer. But in this time where basically the school really only benefits revenues depending on the donations directly to the school, that's going to be different than that case scenario where now they're invested in making sure that they also help their schools, their teams get the best players possible and also keep the best players possible as well. So it's definitely going to be it's definitely a crazy world thinking about where we are now compared to 3-4 years ago. And in 3 to 4 years from now, we'll probably look back to 2024 being like, man, look where we were and look where we are now. So it's crazy. But anyway, so don't worry, Michelle. We'll talk about NCAA softball. We will get to it, I promise you. But gotta give a shout out to one Pac Pro who I actually heard a quote today by a NFL legend saying, arguably defensive play of the year so far. Which I said, wow, that is quite the comment, quite the compliment so far. But our man Peyton Wilson, who just came off with a miraculous interception here in the biggest rivalry game in the entire NFL, and pulling off, just a game-changing play in this Pittsburgh matchup versus the Baltimore Ravens. Looking at it here, just hand in the middle there, stripped it out, but still found a way to hold on to that ball and not let it touch the ground. Just a thing of beauty here, man. But Carson or Greg, were either of y'all watching this game, man? And live, or did you see the highlight of it afterwards?
I saw the highlight afterwards, but I probably watched it about 10 times. And like the thing that makes it so amazing is that when you first look at it, it looks like Peyton Wilson is just going in for the tackle. he's not even going for the ball. And then he's able to lock his hand in between and get that interception midway through. Like, that is just an amazing, like, turn of events mid-tackle.
Yeah, Michelle's saying I saw it live and it was phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, Greg, do you think the Carolina Panthers are watching this thinking that maybe they could have spent maybe a round earlier pick and gone and got him?
The hell with the Panthers. I wish the Bucs would have done it. But you know who was probably smiling the biggest when they saw this play?
Who's that?
Coach Thunder, because that is just pure arm strength when he's going in with one arm to rip it out. Like, that's just an impressive. I mean, he's falling down and he's able to hook his arm and then pull through the arms of the receiver and lock it in. That's impressive. It's really impressive. And falling down at the same time, like, just to have the wherewithal to be able to do all that in one motion is impressive. Especially when you hear the announcers, it's like, oh, that was a catch. It's like, wait, what's going on? Like, the Steelers came away with the ball. Like, they were in shock.
Yeah, no, rightfully so. So, yeah, no, I mean, again, just huge shout out to Peyton Wilson, who has definitely stood out so far this season, even before that play. But now, he's going to be a guy that's going to be talked about for the rest of the season, because that highlight is going to be brought up week after week after week after week.
Like, so, just a question real quick. Like, I don't watch a whole lot of NFL because I'm usually traveling on Sundays, coming back from Raleigh. Like, how is he comparing to other rookies? Like, is there another defensive rookie out there that's probably had a better season? I know he's kind of, and here's the thing, like, he kind of started slow, but then he's been kind of just ramping up ever since like the third or fourth game of the season. Like, how is he compared to other defensive rookies? Any idea?
I'm actually looking it up right now to try and find out. So, because we still have access to PFF, so I'm actually looking as we speak.
Just curious.
Yeah, let me look. I mean, Peyton
Wilson.
Wilson.
Just feels like every week he's making a play.
Here's one crazy stat. And I mean, it's crazy more of we just saw a big piece of why this is, but I mean, still talk about how many great defensive players are on the Pittsburgh Steelers. PFF actually gave Peyton Wilson the highest defensive grade of the entire Pittsburgh defense in that Ravens game, a 92.4 defensive grade for Peyton Wilson on yesterday versus the Baltimore Ravens. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So,
especially when you have TJ Watt on that team.
Well, exactly, and Cam Hayward as well.
And if you're coached by Mike Tomlin.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, looking at it so far, I mean, he has 32 tackles through 11 games, so a little less than 3 tackles a game. Doesn't have any sacks yet, but he did have 2 pressures versus the Giants. Coverage wise, he hasn't given up a single touchdown, which is
he
something. So,
and I don't follow the Steelers. Is he a starter or is he like a rotational guy?
Right now he's rotational. But he gets a lot of playing time.
Yeah,
got you. All right, so that's probably explains some of his stats too.
Yeah, agreed. So I mean, but now I think you
make plays like that, right?
I think he's earned it. I think he's earned a couple more snaps a week. That's all I'm saying. So, and especially with a guy like Peyton Wilson, who, again, he's 24 right now, and so I mean, this is his prime years right now. So go take advantage while you can. I mean, and you saw that prime time play against the Baltimore Ravens. So. Go after it.
Did anyone see the comment in our Discord about the Ring of Honor? Like, there's 3 Pittsburgh Steelers in a row now with Cowher, Russell, and Peyton. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Greg, so maybe you need to have a Steelers jersey or 2. No, not gonna happen.
Nope, I'm good.
I love it.
I would get a Peyton Wilson. Like, I do, like, if I buy other teams' gear, it's always a state player. That's
of course.
So I've kind of gotten to the point. I mean, I will always root for my Bucks, but I'm also a fan of anyone that's a former Pac Pro or a Pac Pro.
Cool.
I always love seeing them doing well.
Yeah,
Greg, I am right with you, Greg. When I was like 4th, 5th grade, I had a Russell Wilson Seahawks jersey and a Phillip Rivers Chargers jersey.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Kins the other day, and apparently Vi Jones, who plays for the Bucks, was mad that I didn't reach out to him when I went down to Tampa a few weeks ago. And I'm just not one of those guys that will reach out to people typically. I just find it kind of weird. But now that I have that, because I actually wanted to reach out to because the Falcons had a couple of guys. They had Katavius Street, and I always get it backwards. Is it James Smith Williams or William Smith?
James Smith Williams.
Smith
Yeah,
Williams.
see, I always get it backwards. I always get his name backwards.
Yep.
But he played for the Falcons too. But yeah, and then of course Trenton Gill. I almost bought a Trenton Gill jersey because he plays for the Bucks. I would never buy a punter jersey, but if I had to buy one, it would be his.
Hey, I love it. And
Yeah.
and also too, one thing which I realized too, speaking of NFL players, I actually didn't even realize that Braden Arvison got let go by the Packers. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he missed a couple of field goals.
yeah, no, but that's all it takes in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
I
Unless
mean, there's
you're
only
Justin-
32 of those.
unless you're Justin Tucker, who hasn't been playing his best, but probably the greatest kicker of all time. So I guess I'll hold on to him, right? So
Yeah, he gets a little bit more rope.
a little bit more rope. When you can kick a ball from 70 almost automatically, I guess they'll
That's
keep you
insane.
around. So
That's insane.
but yeah, Preacher Man
Do
will
you know where you have to be to kick a 70-yard field goal? Like you're on the other side of the 50.
That's
Like
crazy.
that's insane. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. I was just letting Preacher Man know. Don't worry, we'll definitely be talking some in-state wrestling here soon for
Yeah,
sure. Again,
good
there's a
weekend.
lot to break down with that. But I gotta talk here a sport that's true and true to your heart, Greg, specifically, but I mean to all of our hearts for sure, and that's in-state women's basketball. And I kind of am looking back at definitely so far this season, specifically in football and women's basketball, it's been just hasn't quite hit as much as strong as we thought. Now, with that being said, I think that and we'll talk about the kind of really that maybe that a lot of state fans, if I were just to tell you, hey, we went to TCU and we lost, immediately a lot of state fans would be like, well, what the heck? How did we lose that game? Why did we lose that game? Like, that's an unacceptable loss. What are we doing? But the one thing which I immediately want to tell everybody, because we talked about this at the beginning of the show with us being favored by 12.5 versus Colgate, TCU was actually favored by 2.5 points in that game. And to me, like I always say, if there's a line that makes no sense whatsoever, you go with it, because as like Vegas knows something. And I'm sitting there saying, okay, NC State number 13 in the country going to unranked TCU, but TCU is favored by 2.5 points. That is interesting. And I think that, what we lost by 3 points. So basically Vegas got it right on the money. So, Carson, immediate thoughts there. Michelle's saying it here already. Women's basketball needs a reliable center. I think we're missing a very reliable center right now. And I think, unfortunately, right now we're the Death Star. And unfortunately, our one weakness that could really, take down a lot of the I guess this early season, production got taken out for at least a few months, unfortunately.
Yeah. With what's her name? Weimar, she's out indefinitely right now, and there's no real timetable on when she'll be back.
Yep.
And we had the freshman. Is it a Woo? She didn't play on Sunday. I like what I've seen from her so far, but she didn't play on Sunday because she was hurt. I like what I've seen from Collier so far. She's been getting a little more physical down in the paint, but she's a sophomore, So we just have a situation where the bigs down low just got to get more healthy, and you see the guards really have a lot of pressure and work put on them, and they have to do a lot. And they've already had to do a lot in Coach Moore's 4-out 1-in, but now it's gone from an 80-20 to like a 95-5.
Yep. Greg, what are your thoughts on the performance in general, but what you've seen so far from women's basketball?
Yeah, I was traveling, so I listened to it. I didn't get to watch it. The biggest thing is the inside game. We got killed in points in the paint yesterday, and we got beat on the boards. and that's just where we need to figure out. And especially with the 1 in, 4 out, you need someone that's going to be a threat inside in order to make Wes's offense go. And it's just not happening right now. And you would like to see the Matty Coxes, the Colliers of the world, and even Lizzie Williams just someone needs to step up. And it's just that simple. And until that happens, I agree with you, Carson Alou. Like she's shown a promise, but she's a true freshman. So how much are you looking to get out of her? But someone just needs to take it and run with it, and that's going to be a problem. And it's already kind of reared its head in the 2 losses, and so that makes people like Isaiah James and Sanaya be that much more important. And you saw even like James had her flu game yesterday. She was sick, and she still had 27 points in the game. You know, if she plays a full, an extra 6 to 7 minutes and she's not sick, you probably win that game.
Yep.
You probably win. So yes, you're kind of upset that you took a loss, but it's a road loss. It's a quality road loss if you're going to look at it that way. And again, it's just something you're going to be able to build upon when you get to ACC play.
Yeah, I mean, TCU had Haley Van Lith on the team, so very good player at Louisville. She finally gets her win against NC State. But she's a very good player, very good leader, and so not too disappointed that we lost to her. She's a good player. Got to respect her.
Well, especially got to give a shout out to Sedona Prince as well from TCU, who's a super senior for TCU. And I mean, 6'7", somebody that averages over 5.5 blocks a game, if I remember that stat correctly. I mean, averages over 22 points a game right now, 10 rebounds a game.
She had our lunch.
She had our lunch, and I mean, we're not going to go against many better centers in all of college basketball than that. And my point being that I mean, she dominated, 31 points, 16 rebounds. And
it would have been nice if we could get that 5th foul on her. We just couldn't get it on her.
And just keep in mind that combined, our 3 centers and Lizzie, Tilda, and Matt and Collier had a combined 2 points and 9 rebounds. So literally had almost double the points and basically made our centers absolutely worthless on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, no, she had wait, that's triple, isn't it? You said 9 points and she had 31.
No, 9 rebounds.
9 rebounds.
Yeah, we had to combine 9 rebounds. We had a combined 2 points. So
well, that's like 30 times the amount of points then.
Exactly. Well, and those 2 points came off of free throws. Literally we didn't have a single center make a single free throw. That's like it just
field goal. You mean?
Had a single field goal? Correct. Yeah, field goal. And so immediately my first thing that comes to my head, and this was something that was screaming out to me even after the South Carolina game, which is Tilda, in my opinion, gives you the most upside of any center we have right now that's playing. Just now I know the immediate thing for sure. Yes, she is a true freshman, no doubt about it. But size, 6'6", she has post move ability that we saw versus South Carolina, and in my opinion, she just needs more minutes. So I'm sitting here saying,
not that you want to. It's kind of weird when you talk about this. She needs to put on a little weight, which is weird to say for a woman. But she needs a little bit. She reminds me of a classic. Yeah, good weight. Yeah, muscle weight. There you go.
Muscle weight.
But she reminds me of a classic European player. And I'm not saying she's soft, but she's more of a an outside in person instead of an inside out person.
Sure. Well, and I guess really because for me right now, it's just with Collier and Lizzie, good players for sure, but just again, I just if we want to get to where we need to be, if we need because I mean also too, because one of the things as well is that right now, once again, it's just hard to have any team that we play against respect the inside. They're just gonna be very focused on the 3-point line. Just keep your eyes focused on at the line. And whatever the inside has, let them have it. It's fine. They're not going to have much, but whatever they do have, let them have it. Let's lock down the outside. So that's my thing. It's just we just need somebody inside that just makes it respectable. That's all we need.
Well, here's the thing too: is the way with Tilda is she can shoot from the outside. So even if you can draw that big out to her, then you create driving lanes for your guards, and so that shot blocking, it goes away. So to your point, if she has the most upside from a scoring perspective, maybe you trade the defense for the offense. I don't know.
Well, because again, I mean, like when I look at Mallory, when I look at Lizzie, I mean, what am I really excited about? Like they're
role players.
Exactly. They're role players, but they're not defensive lockdown people. They're not offensive, post players. They're not really any of those. They're role players, just like you said, Greg. So like with Tilda, you see the potential there for sure. You see it there. So, but again, I know she's a true freshman. I know she doesn't quite have the size right now, but again, unfortunately, just like I said, we're the Death Star and they hit that one weakness that just, we could have probably taken a hit almost anywhere else, but except for right there. So, but again, going forward, again, one of the best centers in women's college basketball had our lunch, 31 points, and we only lost by 3 points. And literally we didn't make a single field goal from any of our centers. So literally, if we just could take a small step forward, it could make a huge difference for the rest of the season, in my opinion. But Carson, any additional thoughts here about women's basketball?
Not really. I think Coach Moore is definitely going to be looking at this game and trying to make the team more physical before we play teams like LSU. It's not confirmed yet, but if we win that first game in that island tournament, then we're probably going to play LSU. And then when we get to ACC play.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So we'll see. But so we host Coastal Carolina Thursday night, or well, not even night, Thursday at 5 p.m., which is
weird time,
disgusting time. I mean, good luck. I mean, we're still probably gonna sell it. I mean, we're still probably gonna pack it out. But I mean,
during freaking rush hour. That's intelligent. Rush hour. I don't
understand. That is gonna be a crazy night for State fans, though, because you got women's basketball at 5. I think you got men's soccer, the NCAA tournament game, starting at 7.
That's probably why they have it at 5.
Starting at 7. And then you have the football game starting at 7:30.
Wow. That's that's a night to have a monster or two ready to go. A lot of emotions. I'm in a glass case of emotion. That's basically what's going to be going on that night.
Are we ready to move to football? Because
yes.
Has anyone seen what the temperature is going to be like Thursday night in Atlanta, Georgia?
You tell me.
40 degrees.
I love it. It's about dang time.
November football.
Greg,
it's Atlanta, Georgia.
Greg, we have been spoiled this year, my man, by this weather, bro, during football. Man, we have been spoiled. So, and listen, I am okay with it. Just finally getting some true blood football weather, baby. In the cold, I love it. But
I think we're more used to the cold than Georgia Tech is, though. So that gives us the advantage.
Hey, if that pays a difference, then I'll take it. Exactly. I'll take all the
8.5 point dogs.
Yep. I mean, we were 9.5 point dogs first Cal, but obviously it's a little bit different as Georgia Tech's coming off a huge win, and a win too that was it was no fluke. It was no fluke that Georgia Tech dominated Miami, man. They dominated Miami. They dominated on both sides. And because going into that game, I would have said, well, Georgia Tech, they're going to have Haynes King. They're going to be strong offensively, but defensively, a lot of holes. But man, I mean, they held their own against at the time the Heisman favorite, which is not the Heisman favorite anymore. So, but
nope.
Yeah, Greg, give me your initial thoughts here, man. Sitting here Monday night, 9:57 p.m. What, 3 days until the game? What are your thoughts, man?
I just gave you my thoughts. It's 40 degrees. I've already got I've got 3 layers. I've got the freaking beanie out. I've already packed, ready to fly down to Atlanta. I had to change. I had T-shirts and all of that stuff. And I looked at the weather. I'm like, what is going on? No, I'm excited. First time down to Atlanta for a football game. So I'll be able to mark off Bobby Dodd Stadium. I will only have 3 stadiums that I have to go to after this week. So excited. And 2 of those are brand new teams. The only original that I haven't been down to is Doak. So, yeah, I think it'll be fun. I'm excited. You know, it's Georgia. There'll be a lot of state fans there. A lot of state fans in Georgia. So I think we'll have a good showing. And it's just about continuing to play well on offense. Have to figure out, you know, hopefully they looked at the tape from Duke and then burned it right after that, and they've made adjustments. But yeah, I think we're gonna have our hands full. But you know, we need one of these last two to make a bowl game.
Yeah. Well, especially too, I mean, you know, you look at the last time that we faced a dual threat quarterback with Stanford and, you know, what their quarterback was able to do. And you say, hey, now you're going to see that with Haynes King. Like this is a game. That's the game that's going to be about discipline. Like, you know, if we're going to see that Tony Gibson defense that we that we expect to come into the season, this is a game where we really need to start to see that flower blossoming once again, where we need to see discipline, everybody do their job, take care of their job, make the tackle where they need it, get Haynes King down and get him under control. So that's really, in my opinion, what this come down to, because we're not going to be able to win a shootout. We're not going to be able to score, you know, 35, 40 points. Like, it's going to have to be a 28, 24 to 21 point game. It's just going to have to be, you know, and so, but can we do it? Absolutely. I mean, I think the defense has taken some steps forward, but, you know, I think this is going to be a big game for the linebacking core without Caden Fordham. So for me, in my opinion, it's going to come down to the linebackers, in my opinion, for this game. Carson, would you agree? Would you put that focus a little bit more somewhere else for this game in terms of the game?
I would put it at linebackers because with all the QB runs that Haynes King can do, the linebackers' main responsibility.
Well, they run the ball really well too. Like they run, but their running backs run really well.
Oh, sure.
That's their strength.
The defensive line's been playing a lot better against the run. It's just the linebackers themselves, because a lot of it's QB scrambles where they go outside and then start running.
Right. Or we're in a cover 0 or cover 1, and we're so far in our depths for covering receivers, and then there's just a lane for the quarterback to run wild. That was, if you watch the Pitt Clemson game when the Klubnik had that game-winning touchdown, and it was like, oh, it was a 52-yard run. It was the second longest. And I was like, please don't say it. Please don't say it. And they're like, his longest of the year was 55 against State. I'm like, you had to freaking say it. So we've definitely struggled in that department.
Yep, absolutely. So anyway, you know, definitely just, you know, it's kind of sad because I feel like that, you know, usually football, we usually take bit more time to talk about it. But listen, at the end of the day, at this point, it's just, we've seen what we can do on both sides. We've seen what we can do on offense. We've seen what we can do on defense, but we just got to go out there and do it. Just got to go execute.
I think that's the crazy thing. You just don't know what state team you're going to get from week to week. I honestly, I want to say, oh, we're going to be able to do this, or we're going to be able to do that. And you see the output from Stanford, you're like, okay, I think we got it. We're back. And then you get the Duke result. You're like, you know what? I don't even know anymore. Let's just go play football and see what we do.
That's right. Now the one thing though, which, man, I'm not looking ahead, but it scares the crap out of me right now that there is a possibility where we could be Wake Forest, Duke, and UNC in the same year. Like, that is disgusting. And again, I'm not playing this game, so it's okay if I've mentioned that for a minute. But I mean, because again, as a state fan, that scares the absolute daylights out of me. Being like, are we serious right now? Like, this is am I dreaming? Is this the Twilight Zone? Like, what are we doing right now? So
yeah. I'm gonna say this. I am incredibly glad that Carolina won that game against Wake.
Me too.
I do not want them playing against us when they're trying to make a bowl game.
Yep.
Agreed. So,
and Georgia Tech's bowl eligible as well.
Oh yeah, and I mean, dude,
here's a factor in this game that not a lot of people are talking about. Okay,
yeah,
this is Georgia Tech's senior night. It is their last home game, but they go play Georgia next week.
Right.
Georgia already has 2 losses. A home loss to Georgia Tech might knock Georgia out of the playoffs.
Oh, it's definitely going to knock them out of the playoffs at that point.
Yeah. If we take a big lead against Georgia Tech, and break their spirits very early, they might just start resting and start thinking about Georgia, because there is nothing that Georgia Tech would like to do to ruin Georgia's season. That would be a massive win for Georgia Tech.
Well, yeah, because I mean, Georgia Tech, in my opinion, has already taken a huge step forward this season, no matter what, for sure. Being like, man, like if you're a Georgia Tech fan, you gotta be thrilled about the future, with this football program. But even more, beating state, losing the state, like if you can go and knock out Georgia and just, oh man, that would be just ridiculous. And I'm telling you, I'm borderline going to be wearing the Georgia Tech shirt that day because, man, I would love nothing more than that. That'd be so sweet. That'd be so cool. I'd be thrilled for them. So
here's the crazy thing, real quick. I mean, we're still talking about
yeah.
the game, but we're going to talk about Georgia Tech just for a second.
Yeah.
For the fact that they are 6-4 with that schedule, that's like 8-2, 9-3 type numbers. Just because
yeah.
it was an insane season. I mean, they played. Granted, they played Florida State at number 10. So
yeah,
take
that
off
was a
the
big
board.
win.
Yeah, but looking at the beginning of the season, I mean, they've played Louisville, they've played Duke, they played Notre Dame, they had Miami, and we thought Virginia Tech was going to be better. They've been probably a disappointment just as much as we have been, but they've had a tough schedule, and so for them to run what they've run to, it's pretty good. Especially with an injured Haynes King for a good portion of that stretch.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, when you talk about the best traditional programs in the ACC, you talk about Clemson, Florida State, you can throw Miami in there. Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech, if they can figure it out, they are sleeping giants.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's got a history. Like, people don't understand. Yeah. Like, they were really good in the 80s. And then they had some weird years with Paul Johnson running that triple option, but they were always just a tough team to play because of that triple option. But they're an underrated, quietly good school, to your point, Carson.
Very much agreed. Now, the one thing which I was looking forward to doing, because at least for me, I haven't done this in a while, but I think it's time to bring back.
What really grinds my gears?
And specifically, I got to bring this back for one thing in particular. For those that don't know, my wife and I, we went this weekend to the Columbia, South Carolina during the bye week to go for one game a year. We'll usually go back to my wife's alma mater and go watch a football game there. And I'm telling you, man, like there was a lot of talk on Twitter about this after the Duke game. But unfortunately, going to that South Carolina game just dug that knife in even more, which is, bro, our home game atmosphere is it's basically a toothpick. It's a toothpick compared to that South Carolina experience I just saw. I mean, they literally had fireworks on the field for the fourth quarter light show. So they literally shot out fireworks on the field and on top of the scoreboard while blasting you out of the stadium with music, with a light show. Like, it was insanity, man. Like, it was. And then on top of Sandstorm, on top of 2001, their entrance, like, I'm sitting here and in the meantime, they're down, throw my hands up, play my song. Like, oh my gosh, like, what are we doing right now? Like, can we just can we just accept that? Guess what? We're at a football game. We're here to win. We're here to kick some butt and leave. And guess
what? You
can
say ass.
If
it's after 10 o'clock.
I guess it's after 10 o'clock. We're there to whip some ass and leave. And guess what? As long as we whip that ass and leave with a W, every single fan is going to walk out there happy as can be, and nobody's going to care about, oh, the music was a little loud. Oh man, they said a borderline cuss word. Like, who cares? Guess what? Hype up the players, man. Get the freaking win, man. Like what are we doing here? It's just frustrating as heck, man. So I'm telling everybody right now, if you're listening, when you get those feedback, cards at the end of the season, blow that crap up, man. Blow that crap up. Where's the DJ? What are we doing right now? Pump up the music. Like, stop the crappy music. Like, it's just so frustrating. It freaking
what really grinds my gears?
All that. Like, it's just. It's so frustrating, and because again, do I have am I a slight South Carolina fan? Sure, because again, my wife went there, and my money's going there, so yeah, my heart goes where my money goes. Shocker, but I'm saying like why can't we have that? Why can't we be even close to that? We're nowhere even. We're not in the same same galaxy in terms of home field
It's
experiences
SEC
right
football,
now.
baby. It's completely different. It just means more.
Yeah, but it does mean more. But why does it have to be that much more? Like, I mean, we love football. Like, is there really like the South Carolina fans really love football that much more than we do? I don't think so.
No, they probably do.
Can I do much more?
I don't know. Can I do a grind my gears?
I would love for you to do a.
You know what really grinds my gears?
You in South Carolina gear.
Hey, man, dude.
I get it, brother. Hey, I'm gonna bust your chops. I just wanted to just get at you.
Hey,
actually, you don't grind my gears. Ashland making you wear South Carolina gear. That's what grinds my gears.
Hey, man, dude.
I'm expecting her running into the room any minute to go.
Yeah, USC.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, listen, man, that was an epic game for sure.
It was a good game.
That was epic. Holy smokes, that was insanity.
I would love for a good game to be like that in Carter Finley this year, but it just didn't happen.
Nope,
4-3.
Happen at freaking all. So anyway,
we hadn't lost like 3 games total in like a couple of years. Like you add up multiple years. Like
Yep.
We need to find that home field advantage.
I cannot stand the swag surfing when we run out of the tunnel. That does not get anyone hyped up whatsoever. It gets you hyped up to dance, not hyped up to watch football. I've never understood why we do that.
Hey, come on. Hold on. See, Carson hasn't done one. Give it to him.
I know, Carson. You need to do it, man. You got to do it.
Really grinds my gears.
Now give it to us, Carson.
The swag surfing at the beginning when we run out of the tunnel. We should be playing something much more hype, like Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses.
POD, baby. Here comes the boom. That was the best.
No.
Do you remember those, Carson? Like, I know you're a little young, but do you remember when we would run out to that?
I think a little bit, yeah. But they already had it perfect when they play the Strength of the Pack.
Yeah, the Law of the Jungle.
The Law of the Jungle thing. And then they can just do that song right afterwards. It's the perfect transition, but they don't do it. They said play it for the kickoff song. No, play it for when they run out of tunnel. That's how you hype up the fans.
Yeah.
Do swag surfing for like the second half kickoff or something.
I like that. That's not bad, honestly. Like as much as people like don't like Crazy Train as like the opening kickoff, but there's a reason people do it, right? I don't care if it's cliche. If it works, it works. Like that's all I want is, like you said, get me hyped up. Like I don't really need a lot of hyped up because I just walk in already hyped up. But some of the other people, they need a little something. But that's I would get behind that. I think this goes back to what we always talk about, right? It's tradition. Like we need to find things that make us unique. Like, and I love that we've done the Law of the Jungle. I like that we do the Alpha Wolf. Like that's a start. We just got to keep moving, get that momentum, and keep coming, keep adding things to what we do in football games, like Wagon Wheel.
I mean, like,
one more. Like if you watch what and I see we're kind of doing the same thing when Florida does Tom Petty Won't Back Down. Like that hits differently than Wagon Wheel, and then Alabama does Dixieland Delight by Alabama. Bro, did you guys see? Like I saw a video from it the other night. Solid, like
Well,
Wagon Wheel just doesn't hit. It just doesn't work.
Well, and they literally say F Auburn, like screaming out loud. I'm sitting here like, but in the meantime, we're playing like it's completely different. That's what I'm saying. But again, like I understand it's different. Like it's always gonna be different. It's SEC football.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that much different.
Yeah.
It could be just somewhat different. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say this conversation go in this direction.
No, but hey, listen, I've it's been a couple weeks since I've had the opportunity to be on, so I have had some pent up issues.
Aggression.
Man. Yes, agreed. And then a lot of it was from that after the Duke game being exactly just like everybody else being like, not only did we lose, but I wasn't even hyped while losing. I was just like,
were you at that game? I know you've been on the road a little bit.
Yeah, no, I was at the Duke game. So yeah, unfortunately. But
did anyone see Manny Diaz come over to Davin Van after the game and console him on the bench?
No. Wow.
Yeah, it was nice. It was classy.
Yeah. Which I mean, I have no issues with Manny Diaz whatsoever.
No.
And I mean, he's a former NC State coach, so even more, like no issues with him whatsoever. Now he's not going to be a Duke in 3 years, guaranteed. But
not if they're going in that direction.
No, and I mean, just again, yeah, there's no shot. So, and I mean, especially because their quarterback, I mean, he's going to be there for I mean, I guess
Another
as long as
year
they
or
pay
two.
him, But anyway, I really want to talk about some wrestling here, real quick. As obviously wrestling, it's been a weird year so far, and you may say, how's it been that weird? But like literally in the Campbell duel alone, I think we had two. Well, no. App
Three.
State. I mean, App State.
App State.
App State. I mean, we had 2 or 3 different guys get injured. Yeah.
So we had one. We had one, and then they had 2
guys get injured. So literally, the other wrestler had to win by forfeit because a wrestler got injured. Which, I mean, you may see that once ever so often. You never see it 3 times in the same duel. Like, that is insanity. But also too as well, I mean, again, you knew it was going to be weird when Owen Trefon wasn't wrestling. You knew it was going to be weird when Ryan Jack, All-American, wasn't going to wrestle, and he's going to be redshirting. And then you knew it was going to be weird when who's the third one? Jackson Arrington. He also too is getting redshirted. And you say, well, why are these guys that are All-Americans? Because all 3 of them are All-Americans. Why are they getting redshirted? Well, because I think that a lot of it has to do with, first of all, that Isaac Trumbull, he's coming off of his Olympic red shirt. He just won a world championship. He is primed, my friends. I'm telling you right now, book it. That guy is winning a national title this year. I'm calling it. It's happening. He's going to win it all. I'm telling you, we're going to have our first.
He's been dominant so far.
We're going to have our first national champion since Michael Machiavello this year in Isaac Trumbull. Now, will we have another one? Maybe. I think there's one guy in particular that going into the season, I wouldn't have had any expectations to win a national title, but man, I'm calling this right now, and buckle your seatbelts when I say this. But and I think somebody said, I think it was Preacher Man said earlier, but man, Vince Robinson, man, that dude, he's special, man. He's special at 125. I am excited about him this season, and I'm gonna be really interested in what Coach does with Camacho. Do you try and move him up? Do you redshirt him? What do you do with him? Because I mean, Robinson's hot right now, man. He is hot. So
it's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. You got a lot.
They've been recruiting so well the last. I mean, they always recruit well, but they've. I feel like they've, which is weird to say, they've over recruited, and so to your point, it just makes much difficult decisions. But again, you've got. I think the nice thing is you've got a lot of play for when you're trying to put together an All-American, or excuse me, not All-American. What's the phrase? A team that's got to do well at the nationals. What is that?
Yeah, like a top 8 finisher.
Yeah, no, not only that, but as a team. What I'm trying to say is like go for like a top 5-6 team result.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I mean, and because keep in mind to Preacher Man, Gable Stevenson is far. He's been gone for a couple of years now. So we don't have to worry about him anymore. But
in fairness, he was there forever.
He was there forever. It didn't seem like it. But yeah. So I mean, I'm telling you, man, Isaac is. I feel very confident he's going to win it all. Now,
just got to stay healthy.
Yeah, he's got to stay healthy, which I mean he's done pretty well with. But it's just kind of, can we iron out a few things? Who's going to take over at 133? With Kyrie moving up to 141, who's going to take over at 133? His younger brother, Dragon Arini, which is such a cool name.
It's a great name.
Yeah. Preacher Man saying he's back. What do you mean he's back? Gable Stevenson? He's not back. You can't come back. I think you're talking about WWE. He's back to WWE maybe because he took a break to go to try to out for the Buffalo Bills, and he got drafted. He got picked up as a free agent for the Buffalo Bills, but I think he's back to WWE wrestling. Preacher Man, he's not back to college wrestling. No. But I think Greg's checking right now. But
he's a professional wrestler at this point.
He's a professional wrestler. He's a WWE wrestler. Yeah, he announced today he's returning to WWE wrestling. No, Preacher Man, you cannot go back to college wrestling. Once you go pro, you cannot go back to college wrestling.
Yeah,
no.
And to your point, he was with the Buffalo Bills practice squad. He is done.
Yep. No, yeah, he's done. Thank God. But I mean, he just beat the number 4 overall wrestler in the country from Rutgers 2-0. So I mean, you call for a wheel with Isaac Trumbull. So I'm excited about him. But Dylan Fishback, he's a guy that's gonna be competing for All American. Matt Singleton's been impressive. Ed Sky's gonna be so hit or miss. Unfortunately, that's just been
Feast
his
or fathom.
MO. Feast or fathom. That's been his MO ever since he came to NC State. And I think that's what you're gonna see again this year for Ed Scott. Kai's gonna compete for All American. But 197. What do you like? Can we have somebody step up there? 149. So 133, 149, and 197 are 3 weight classes of can we get somebody that will plant their stake in that weight class? So that's going to be the big question for wrestling. Preacher Man keep saying, look it up. I promise, Greg, but I don't know, man. I'm not even looking it up, but I'm just sitting here like there's no way that can happen. There's no way he's back.
I mean, he's already had 4 seasons.
And he's not even on the rankings. Also, too, Preacher Man, Gable Stevenson. He's not even in the rankings. So, in fact, here, let me see if I can find.
I'm pulling up the wrestling. I'm pulling up their roster right now.
Gable Stevenson has been granted a waiver to compete second semester, January start, and will return to go for wrestling.
What?
No way.
Gosh dang it, Preacher Man.
If that's the
How?
case,
What kind of waiver did he get?
What the frick? Oh my God. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Are you serious? Why? How? Hold on a second. That's got to be the biggest NCAA scam of all time. And nobody's going to talk about that. How the hell is he allowed
My
back?
apologies, Preacher Man. My apologies.
Yeah, my apologies as well. Because again, that makes no sense whatsoever. How could he go? How could he go be a professional WWE
It literally
wrestler?
just dropped 7 hours ago.
How could he go be a professional WWE wrestler and go be a part of the Buffalo Bills to be granted a waiver?
Well, so I do know, you see guys all the time, play college football, and then they can go play college baseball. So I know that's a thing, and they probably don't. But here's the thing: they probably don't count WWE as professional wrestling. It's entertainment. So there's probably how they're getting around this. Again, don't know that for a fact, but if I had to guess, that's.
Oh, gosh.
But he literally is just going back to school to wrestle.
Oh my God,
that's insane.
Well, Isaac better drop down to 197, man. Yeah. I mean, I love you, Isaac, but you have he's nobody can be Gable. Nobody can be Gable. He's unbeatable. He's arguably the greatest college wrestler in of all time. So and I wouldn't even say that's argument.
So how did he get a what did he get a waiver for?
Bro, I'm telling you now, Preacher Man, my whole plans for the rest of the show are blown up because there's no way I'm able to think about it.
That's just ended at this point. It's just ended.
I mean, that just absolutely that just sucked the air out of me right there.
There's no coming back from this.
I mean, I'll give a shout out to real quick to State Volleyball. They beat UNC, they beat Duke, they beat Wake Forest twice now. Huge shout out to them.
Here it is. So here it is.
Oh my God.
So he had a COVID year, and then he had a red shirt. He had his Olympic year. So that's how he's able to come back.
That's bull.
He's already earned degrees in business and communications. What is he going for now? He's going to be a doctor.
Yeah, it's just oh my God. See, I don't understand that move. I don't like that move. It doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, no, it does. It makes complete sense. He's getting everything paid for. He can still compete. He's get free training. That's what he's doing. All right, Carson, you need to jump in here. We're done. We need to change. Give us a topic to talk about. This is depressing.
No. Carson, give a shout out about the Ice Packs game versus South Carolina and Charlotte, North Carolina this weekend. That's a big opportunity. I know you know about that, right?
Yeah, I follow the Canes a lot more, but yeah, big game for Ice Pack coming up.
All right, Carson, you're fired. No,
good enough.
No,
good
kidding.
enough. We changed the subject.
Good enough. No, I mean, again, huge shout out to definitely excited about this Ice Pack game here on Sunday.
Well, it was so bad Saturday night. It was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll talk about that, but yeah, I mean, obviously excited about this opportunity to get another outdoor game once again in Truist Field in Charlotte, North Carolina versus the South Carolina Gamecocks. But yeah, I mean, I will be honest here right now because I mean, this is going to be unfiltered, especially now that freaking Gable Stevenson's coming back. But yeah, Ice Pack have actually kind of pissed me off this year, to be honest with you, because I'm sitting here saying, where's the standard? Like I feel like that over the last few years that Coach Healy has done a great job establishing a standard, and there has been so many issues with discipline in terms of penalties, ejections, and just falling apart. Again, I mean, this weekend, just like you saw with your own eyes, Greg, we were up 4-3.
4-1.
We were at 4-1. We were at 4-1 and lost 7-4. Like, that's
really
insanity.
6-4. Really 6-4 because I got an empty netter, but still.
Then they, guess what? 7-4 was what's on score. I'm gonna hold it against them every single time. I'm gonna hang them over the coals.
They're still 13-5. I mean, they're still 13-5. George Mason's actually a pretty decent team, but still, that's a game you should have won. That's a game they should have won.
Well, and again, because of all those 5 games,
so many penalties
lost because of discipline. Exactly, because of too many penalties. We're putting ourselves in bad situations.
Yeah.
So. That's just the thing that pisses me off is, again, because we're trying to get back to where we should be, which is winning ACCHL titles, and
especially stepping up in competition too. I mean, like
and so listen, I love my Ice Pack, man. Love Coach Healy, love this team. We'll always do it, but I mean, but also too, that means that guess what? I'm gonna keep it real when it's real, which is that listen, this is not the Ice Pack team that I've come to expect every single time I watch these guys. So just hoping that Coach Healy can get through this leadership, get through this team, and get them to lock in, and stop beating themselves. Stop beating themselves. They're good enough to beat every single team they play against every single time they touch the ice, as long as they don't beat themselves. So it's really that simple. This is an incredibly talented team. This is a very, very good team. But unfortunately, when they're playing against the other team and partially themselves, that's when they're going to lose. So just bugs me. But again, hopefully, hey, listen here, Sunday, great opportunity here. Great opportunity against a very good South Carolina team in an outdoor game in Truist Field to go get a big win and go 2-0 in outdoor games. And if we win this game, I'm putting a waiver in. Want every single game we ever played be an outdoor game.
Can we put can we freeze Dorothy at Dick's Park and just play on that little pond that they have there? Play some pond hockey if we win.
I'm down for that.
Yeah,
I'm down for that. Now, Preacher Man, we're not blaming you whatsoever. Hey, listen, at the end of the day, Preacher Man, I appreciate you letting us know about that.
Good info.
It just really, really sucks because, again, I mean, this stamp I'm making about Isaac Trumbull winning the national title. That's more than very likely not happening now, unless he all of a sudden loses a lot of weight. I mean, we'll see, man. But again, I mean, dude, literally, Gable Stevenson took inarguably the greatest NC State wrestler of all time and has not let him get a single win. Made mincemeat of Nick Wisdowski. So, just saying. So,
and Chris is so good.
He's so good.
Multinational champion.
Yep, 3-time national finalist, and Gable Stevenson absolutely has controlled him every single time he's gone against him. So, and again, I mean, it's I don't even know.
Who knows? Maybe it just needs to be somebody else.
I mean, maybe
some with a different style. I don't know.
Yep, no, absolutely. So,
all right.
Anyway, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Carson, any final thoughts here, man, before we wrap this thing up, brother?
Yeah, obviously, big week for State Athletics. We got. Especially Thursday, we got.
You said it, yeah.
Yeah, we got
men's soccer. Huge shout out.
Shout out to men's soccer team hosting NCAA tournament game against Charlotte.
You gonna be there?
I got to work the women's basketball game right before then, so I'll probably.
Yeah, you can make it over there for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I might be able to show up second half and then have the Georgia Tech game on my phone.
There you go.
A lot going on Thursday night.
That's going to be a lot of NC State fans in that game, honestly. I mean, to be honest, they should have a flat screen TV, just right at the ground level, just to help everybody and help the internet connection of having, 30 phones that are trying to stream the football game. So,
Yeah, I found a tailgate to crash on Thursday, so hopefully I'm sure they'll have a TV so we can throw either the women's basketball or soccer on. Well, soccer is at 7, so we probably won't watch any of that because we'll be going into the game. But at least maybe have the women's basketball game on at the tailgate.
There you go.
So,
I love it.
I'm going to go to on Thursday before the game. I'm going to go over to the College Football Hall of Fame, so we'll get some pictures and some info, and we'll post some stuff on the Twitter page and go see who's hanging out at the Hall of Fame from NC State. So I'm looking forward to going to check that out.
Love that. Awesome, guys. Well, again, Wolfpack Nation, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, make sure, again, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure to hit that notification bell. If you enjoyed this conversation, do us a big favor, hit that like button. If you're listening to us anywhere, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to us, do us a big favor as well, and leave that 5-star review. We greatly appreciate that as well. And give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. With that being said, we got a humongous week coming up here for NC State sports. Make sure to go and support them all. Men's soccer, football, basketball, you name it. Make sure to go and give some love all around and take it in, enjoy it. And we'll talk to y'all soon. As always, go Pack, y'all.